Hello, everybody. So, welcome to my channel, Knowledge Central. And this is a playlist which I created to help the aspiring uh, students and or anybody who's looking for jobs, changing their jobs, etc. So, the main idea in today's world is we all know what to do, when to do, how to do, but we all miss a little bit of details and small things which we actually kind of ignore or think that it might not matter, but it actually makes a huge difference based on my interviews and based on my experiences. So yeah, let's go through everything, or at least the major things which I thought would be, having a huge impact if you incorporate it. So this is Girish, and I work as a data engineer in Netherlands. It's been 4 years Netherlands so far, and that's been a wonderful journey. And I really love the work-life experience here, or the work-life balance, etc. Maybe can talk about it in another video. But yeah, let's focus on the agenda. What are the few tips and tricks or small things, especially in the era of 2022 interview process, which you should take care so that you get a little bit of rich. Again, these are all the extra things. These are all, the cherry on the top of the cake, or small, subtle improvements which you can do in order to, case you interview and make good first impression, right? So starting up is being proactive, period. Like, make sure that you have, already taken up a lot of things, initiatives, for example, uh, going through the job description multiple times and, checking up on the interviewer, which is also another point. But in general, being proactive is always nice rather than being reactive. Like, for example, when the interviewer asks something, and you shouldn't be like, okay, let me research, or give me some time, I'll get back to you by today evening. Make sure that you're already ready with the research. So basically, being proactive is something, taking initiative or doing things without people, wanting to push you, or, things like that. So few tips on being proactive is, of course, as I already mentioned, be super confident about the job description and make sure that you have all the details about the company, about the person interviewing, about the team, about who's the lead, and how's the company doing, and all these aspects, so that, if in case you have a question about it, you're already ready and you seem like you've done your research, right? Exactly. So do your research. Being proactive is the first step. The second thing is the overall planning. Like, let's take, for example, a particular company you're giving interview for, or you're applying for, it doesn't matter. So make sure that you have a specific timeline. So, when to apply, and should I have a follow-up? And once you get an interview invite, make sure that you already put that in your agenda, calendar, make enough time for the preparation, and, make yourself time boxed. And when I mean by time boxing is, exactly pinpointing when to do what at what time of the day, and preferably be ready a couple of days, even before the actual interview. And yeah, so planning is must. And it's also one of the important characteristic personality trait of people who are conscientious. And it's also, scientifically proven that great leaders and people who are at the level of CEO and CDO, or, mostly the management strata, have very high conscientiousness. So it's not an important personality trait. So it's really important to start working on that already from your first job, or from early on in your career, right? So planning is really important. And second thing, people kind of, especially if they give interviews from home, they do not have a lot of importance on their outfit. Like, it's really important to have a proper background if you're taking an online interview, and make sure that you wear something pretty neat, formal, not too much like, the bow tie or tie and a suit or something. Depends on the role. But here, especially in Europe or US, I think it's much more pretty semi-formal, I should say, and they might not, care that much, but it gives a beautiful first impression. And again, basic law of psychology also says that people judge based on appearances, and it might not be intentional, but it just registers in your brain, like, based on what you wear. You wear something neat, something professional. Awesome, you already got positive vibe. So make sure you focus a little bit on that, and also just not your outfit, but also the background. Say for example, the headphones or those kind of things, so that you should just make yourself much more neater. And of course, in an offline interview, of course, that makes a huge impact, and not only the outfit, but also the body language, the way you approach, the way you smile. So make sure that you have all the subtle things ready, so that you make the first few seconds as good as possible, right? Then comes the pre-research, and this is a little bit in overlap with being proactive, but research, as I put it, is little more a deeper research. Like, for example, go a little bit into the LinkedIn profiles of your team, go a little bit in LinkedIn profiles of the interviewer, especially, or the recruiter, and see what are all the things which they've done, what are the projects they worked on. It might be a beautiful conversation topic, and especially this gave me a little bit upper edge when I was, especially in the final rounds of my interview, when I was talking to the CEO and the CDO. And when I already told them about, the career path and the transition was wonderful, the switch or something, I'm not going into details. So they were pretty impressed, and they were actually happy that I've gone through their profiles and did the homework. And it is not just going through the job description, but probably giving a little more importance on the whole work culture, the individual skills, the individual projects they have gone through, and might not take a lot of time actually. So it's nice to have the tips or the key points of their major projects or the major clients or their outstanding work, say for example. So all this again might put you in a little bit of a pedestal, or at least keep you, out of the box, kind of a little bit of a shine or a star, etc. Right. So next up is backups, and especially with the interview processes of 2022 or last year, there were a lot of interviews, especially irrespective of the round, or irrespective of whether it's a final round or whether it's a case study, everything or most of it is online, right? So make sure that you have a awesome Wi-Fi, fast Wi-Fi, an awesome laptop, which is not too slow, which refreshes fast, slows down all the tabs, slows down all the background work which is going on. Make sure that you have full focus on the interview. Second of all, irrespective of if there is a disruption in your Wi-Fi, make sure that you have a backup. That's what I mean by backup, is to have your phone. And especially most of the online interviews happen, say, for example, in Teams or Zoom call, or, say, for example, the Google video calling app, etc. Make sure that you have the same apps in your phone, right? And make sure that you have the link on your phone as well. So even if there is a minute of disruption, you immediately go into your phone, and then, yeah, of course, start with the gentle apology and, continue your conversation wherever you left. So it might be more seamless if you have a backup already, which makes you less anxious. Again, and keep the laptop on, of course. If the Wi-Fi is back on, you can just switch that off and continue here. So the idea is to be ready, right? This is also part of being proactive, right? I already thought about it because there's a lot of uncertainties, and it's really important to just have a check on this, right? And make sure that you're not being disturbed, and make sure that friends, family, wherever you're taking your interview, are aware that you're taking interviews, so that you can also have a backup laptop if you want. But again, I would say the phone should be more than enough, right? So after that, we have quite a crucial thing, mock interviews. A lot of people actually give less importance on these, and especially they do it for one or two companies. But I would personally recommend doing mock interviews for each and every company you're having the interview or the final rounds for. Imagine you have been shortlisted for 5 companies, and make sure that you give a mock interview specifically for that particular company, right? Imagine you answer a question, say, for example, why do you choose this particular company, or why do you think this company kind of, gets highlighted for you apart from the other companies? You should be ready with that particular specific answer, right? Giving a general mock interview is fine, but giving a company specific mock interview helps a lot more. And especially, I would prefer a day, or actually a couple of days before, so that you can also actually be ready for that interview, right? So a lot of people give mock interviews, but I would specifically say prepare a mock interview which is tailor-made to that particular company. So this is one of subtle things which would really help during the actual interview with that particular company, right? So make sure that you have the marks right. And followed by that, glass of water might be something which is funny, definitely not a humor, of course. The idea is to, help you with your thoughts, because you'll be going to talk for half an hour or even probably 1 hour, or if you're going to present something, it's going to be even more. So glass of water helps your throat smoothen, right? Simple. Everybody knows this. But there is also another advantage of having a glass of water, right? It gives you subtle extra seconds to think before you answer a particular question. Imagine you are suddenly, stumped by a question which you feel it's like, wow, not a box, not expecting. So it can take a few seconds, and it's actually so normal to take a few seconds before answering a question, right? You not jump on answering the question like even before the interviewer completes the question, or like, yeah, I knew I'm going to answer. I know this question already. Just take a second for any question. But if you need more seconds, just subtly take a sip of water, take a few more extra seconds, and then say what you're going to say. So that helps in both the ways. So it's pretty important, and it also helps to have a more kind of a lively conversation, because if you're just staring at the camera, like, in an attention position, and you're not even turning your head, you're not even, moving your hands. So body language, again, it's very hard to mimic in an online interview, but offline, of course, it's really nice also to have a glass of water or a cup of coffee or whichever makes you a little more comfortable, right? Just, in case might help. And these two things are something which we neglect, and especially if we go to an offline interview, we just directly go inside without having anything, right? Voice gets dry, sometimes it breaks. So make sure you have this. And finally, it's really important to have a more calmer mind before your interview, right? And especially there are these different types of brain waves. I don't want to get into detail and bore you, but we have this alpha, beta, gamma waves where, let's say before your interview, you actually have a high frequency kind of a very fast wave running in your brain. Make sure that you just take a couple of deep breaths and, see a scenery or more wide, open environment. Take a deep breath so that to, slow down the brain waves, especially bring down beta and alpha, which is a much more calmer brainwave, and it actually helps you think more clear, and also, you can be more yourself, because again, you have done your preparation, you've done your research, you've done, all the important things. It's just now you need to just present yourself, give the best, right? So there's not a lot of things that you can do. So just breathe, right? Deep breathe, and a lot of techniques of breathing, and I don't want to get in detail, but the idea is to just take deep breaths, 2 to 3 breaths before going to the interview room or before getting into that online interview. Again, make sure that you have deep breathe, probably meditation to help, 10 minutes of mindfulness, or there are a lot of guided meditations, up to you, but any of these are going to help, right? Simple as that. And finally, one of the things which people ignore, or just say, for example, at the end of the interview, I'm 100%, 200% sure you'd be asked that, do you have any questions? It might be the recruiter, it might be the tech lead, it might be the CEO. Anybody is going to ask you this question at the end of the interview. So my humble request, ask some questions, right? That shows you're interested. That shows you've really done your homework, your research, you're really interested, passionate about, even if most of the questions would have been clarified, make sure to ask more personal questions. Like, for example, asking the CEO, what made you, choose this particular path, or what made you, switch from this career to this career, or, what are all your visions of 2023 or in a couple of years, right? What is your one goal which you wish to achieve this year, or wish to achieve through the position which I'm getting into? So there can be multiple questions which are not answered. I would be happy if you're at least prepared for 2 or 3 questions, which shows interest, which shows passion, which shows that you have a much more connection. And I wish it actually has everything which I mentioned. So this is something which I see people say, no, I don't have any questions. Just sounds a little bit boring, a little bit dumb. You just need to think out of the box. You just need to stand out compared to hundreds of applicants, especially companies nowadays. In LinkedIn, I see every job role, there are 50 applicants, 100 applicants, 200 applicants. The idea is to just stand out, right? Be yourself, be authentic, but make sure that you're also prepared to, put your best authentic self, right? That's the idea. And finally, this is also quite important. The idea is to not just try to keep getting what the company is going to offer you, getting that role, getting a pay, getting the perks, getting, additional benefits, a bonus or joining bonus, whatever. The idea is just not that, right? The idea is also to give back to the company. What value are you going to add? How are you going to help the team move forward, achieve the vision and mission, or achieve the goals? What are you going to additionally add so that others in the interview process could not add? Make sure that you add your soft skills. Make sure that you put your personality, the best personality traits of yourself. Make sure that you highlight them. I'm not asking you to give a false impression or lie about your personality. Never do that. Again, we've already talked about it. Integrity, being honest, is the baseline. But how you put it forward, like how you tell you're good at communication, how you're good at storytelling, whatever. Make sure that you put it in the right way. Make sure that you get the story right? So thinking win-win is also really important. So the whole idea is when you give back, when you give as much as possible, more than expected, you're going to get returns. The returns which you don't expect. So think win-win, and this is one of the important things which I learned from a book. The qualities of highly effective people, the 7 essential qualities of highly effective people. This is one of the qualities, thinking win-win, right? Because the idea is to grow together. So you getting a job is one thing, but the company getting your value, your skills, your personality, the way you're gonna bring them, that's also important. So make sure that you make that clear. And finally, I wish you all the best. Good luck, you'll nail it. And yeah, just one job interview away. So just one step away. So good luck, all the best, and feel free to let me know if I've missed some points, or of course I've missed a ton of points, but these are some things which came to my mind and I wish people would actually take into account, or at least give few importance to at least few of the points. The idea is to put yourself a little bit above the other applicants, the other people. So yeah, good luck and all the best, and see you in another video.